And it's always a great pleasure to welcome back our next guest to the show today, good friend of ours, good friend to the show, and he'll be part of the Sarasota Jazz Festival, which is getting started up later this month. He'll be doing the closing concert March 10th with his friend Derek Smith, titled Derek Smith and Dick Hyman at the Movies. And Dick Hyman joined us by telephone today. And Dick, good to talk to you again. I know it's been about a year since we chatted, but how you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Everything is working out fine, and we're looking forward to this concert on March 10th.
I know we chatted a little bit yesterday. You and Derek, of course, have worked many times before. You've done some this year and in the past with the Sarasota Jazz Festival. Always one of the highlights when you two get together. It's a great partnership.
Derek and I have actually been playing together for, last we could figure, was over 35 years, one thing or another. But of course, we both have individual careers as well. But we just played at the Mahaffey Theater last week in St. Pete, and then we moved over to play at a nice establishment in Vero Beach. So we're all ready for the Players.
Doing the Florida swing, not a bad. I know you live down here in Florida, Dick, but it's always still fun to work in Florida in the winter.
Well, it sure is. It's a very good reason to be here.
Talk a little bit about how you two got together in the first place. Did you just kind of know each other from working gigs in the past, or how did you kind of combine to do this particular format together?
Well, as I said, Derek and I have known each other for a long time, and it's hard to remember how we first met, but it was most likely at a big affair where there are a few pianists, and we decided to put ourselves together on two available grand pianos, and it came out very nicely and intuitively. Derek and I rarely plan anything too closely in advance. We just go.
How do you kind of work out the show? I know you probably get together and pick out the numbers you're going to do, but as a piano player, as you say, you both do solo performances as well. You work with groups. Do you have to kind of alter your style to play with each other, or how does that work?
Well, you do have to watch out for the other fellow. If one person is playing on the upper part of the keyboard, while you shift down to the lower part of the keyboard. Obvious things like that. If one person is playing the melody, the other person will play some bass or support or decoration. And it goes back and forth that way. But we don't have any preconceived notion. We just listen to what the other guy has to say.
And you're going to be doing selections from some of the classic movies. People are going to be familiar with a lot of the tunes. I understand you're going to show some film clips as well, right?
Well, that's the idea of the concert. First, we show a film clip from, say, Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, where we see Fred Astaire at a piano playing Just the Way You Look Tonight to Ginger Rogers. And after Fred finishes playing, we start playing. Then we jam on that kind of arrangement of that tune for a while. Then later on in the program, we move on to similar things for, say, a big scene from 42nd Street, the old early 30s movie, which is really over the top with crowds of people all singing and dancing. and then we use that very nice tune to work on for a while. And also, it works even with background music of a certain kind if you get the right piece. For example, Laura, the old film Laura, had a beautiful score by a man named David Raxon. Nobody that I recall actually sang this song, but the movie used the theme, which has come to be a classic song, as an underscore. And we just sort of comment on the underscore and then use that as basic vehicle.
Yeah, that became a hit later on as a vocal, right? But it was originally just a musical. There was no words to it. Is that right?
Well, that's right. I think the words were added later on by Johnny Mercer.
Right.
And a lot of people have done it since then. But to hear it in the original, where it sort of is the entire meaning of one lengthy 4-minute scene, really nothing much happens except the detective looks around the house and does his detective investigating, but nothing really happens. However, the music is there. That's what's happening. That establishes the character of Laura.
I always thought, you mentioned like 42nd Street, the movie, those great musicals from the 30s,
Yeah.
and really not a lot of plot. And I mean, they were entertaining, but I think they were kind of set up so they could do these great production numbers, and people would just kind of start singing and dancing out of nowhere. Not believable if you want to make them reality, but they were entertaining. I think something's kind of missing from movies. We don't see that anymore, at least as far as musicals go.
Well, musicals, before the one called Oklahoma, were just as you described. They were vehicles for spectacular production numbers. 42nd Street is certainly one of them. It has a minimal plot about a kid in the chorus who gets her big chance to replace the star,
Right.
who is an unpleasant person, as we see. So we root for her, and she comes through. That's the basic plot of that, and a dozen other musicals.
Yeah, just kind of funny. I guess, a couple of years ago, Chicago was done as a musical. The movie did very well, and then occasionally they come out with one, but very rarely. And they're hard to do. I mean, obviously, the music industry has changed. People, I guess, don't have that type of interest in that type of music as much anymore. It's more rock and whatever they do now. But I just think it's something missing now. We don't see that as much anymore. I guess that's why they're so popular on TCM when they come on TV. Those old musicals.
Yeah, it's true, but I just don't believe the art form has ever died. Actually, we still remember those songs. We still perform those songs, and there's still new recordings of those scores constantly.
Again, Dick Hyman will be with Derek Smith. This is March 10th at the Players Theater, part of the Sarasota Jazz Festival. Is it 8 o'clock start, Dick?
No, it's 7:30.
7:30, okay, I want to get that. And you can go to playerstheater.org for ticket information there, or sarasotajazzclub.org as well. You get ticket information there as well. And the Sarasota Jazz Festival, 32 years now, I believe they've been going. And you've been part of it almost every year, right?
Well, almost every year. But I think my big claim to fame is that I was there at the very first one that a man named Hal Davis produced way back.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I know the club originally started, from what I understand, as this bunch of people got around and listened to jazz records. I think that's how initiated the jazz club.
I think it was just a bunch, as you say, a bunch of enthusiasts, fans, who did that. And then it was almost like the old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland music of, hey, kids, let's put on a show.
That's right. Well, I've been to quite a few of them, and, of course, occasionally they have the concerts at Van Wezel, and now I've kind of moved over to the Players Theater as well. And, again, Dick, talk a little bit about how you put the show together. Do you and Derek change it around? I know you've done versions of this at the movies. Do you kind of say, well, let's throw out this number and try this one this year? Do you do that?
Well, yeah, sure we do that. Sometimes we come across scenes from old musicals that are better than others and are ready-made, and they kind of beg to be used as a basis for what we do. Some scenes are better than others, some are shorter than others, some are more performed better than others, and we just see what's around.
Excuse me, again, when we always talk to Dick Hyman, when I asked him, of course, people are familiar with your work doing scoring of movies, particularly Woody Allen movies. Are you doing anything with that currently, or?
I'm not doing any of Woody's movies these days, but I'm working on a lot of composing of chamber music. I write pieces for a string quartet or a string quartet and piano, things like that. I get a big kick out of doing that in chamber music festivals, which is an entirely different thing from a jazz festival.
Yeah, I guess there has to be obviously it's a different muscle you use. I mean, it's all piano, but different beat and different rhythm and all that for chamber music, obviously, than jazz, right?
Yeah, well, I enjoy doing that. I will be doing one out in Portland, Oregon, in about a month with the Portland Chamber Orchestra, and I look forward to that.
And just kind of checking your website, Dick, you travel almost as much as you probably always did, right? So you're on the road once or twice a month, would you say, still?
I would say so, yeah. maybe not quite. I don't get around quite as much as I used to. I'd rather stay in sunny Florida, frankly. But I'm still available. I'm still around.
That's the life of a musician, though, right? You always have to travel a little bit.
I think so. There are tales of people who have played in one club or another for 30 years, but I would think that would get pretty boring.
Yeah. Well, again, Dick Hyman will be with Derek Smith. Great show. I've seen it in the past, and I'm sure this will be one of the best highlights of the festival. Coming up March 10th, the Players Theater, 7:30 p.m. start. Again, playerstheater.org if you want to check out for tickets, or the Sarasota Jazz Club website, sarasotajazzclub.org. And Dick, always great to have a chance to talk to you, and we'll look forward to, won't wait another year before we do it again, but we'll keep an eye on if you're locally again. We'd love to have you back on.
Well, I'd love to talk to you more frequently, so let's see if we can work on that.
Great. Thanks, Dick.
Thank you.